Let's talk about blues tonality. This is a session on the blues scale. All right, that's the fourth. Now, flat fifth. This is just another word for what you all basically, if you know how to bend the four draw, I want to make sure now, you might not, so let's, can you bend the four draw? Can everybody bend the four draw? Get on your four draw, everybody, and bend. Okay, wait, time out. So just the four draw, I hear a lot of five draw leaking in there. I just want... Alright. Some exercises. Take one and pass it around. Some exercises for the four draw. I'm going to just play. Well, you guys are most of you are probably not recording or taping. This makes it a little tough for you to remember all these. But check this out. Number one. So that little the fourth beat there is a sort of arrow with brackets around it. It means do whatever you want to do, but don't really play. Just kind of get the air out. So exercise number one. Okay. There's sort of two ways of playing this, by the way. Exercise number one. One would be to try to get the pitch that's exactly halfway between four draw and four blow. And you can find this with a guitar or a piano if you're unsure about what note that is. You just find four draw and go for the key directly underneath it on the piano. Here's another way. The Batman theme song would be equally divided. That would be a good way to test. Your ear will know whether you're doing the Batman theme song correctly. I'm going four draw, bend, four blow. This sounds so good and weird that I can't help but want to divide the class in two groups. And I want us to be staggered. So I want you guys to go da da, and then you go da. So it's da 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 da. And I want you, it's going to be da da. If we're off by one, it'll sound incredible. Can we try this? Let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can do this. You're going to start one note after these guys. Can we do this?
Yeah, try it.
I'll tell you what, maybe you guys go through it once, complete. Yeah. So you go. Yeah. First for everything. I've never actually abused a class of harmonica students like that. It sounds cool.
That's an of course.
A minuet in harp madness. Okay. So I've got. Wow. What are these others? Let me just go through and see if there's anything useful. That's number. So number two. Wait a minute. Number two. Number two has a lot of scoops. Why don't we try that? There I'm doing a little bend. Let's see if we can do that together. So, by the way, that little four there is just, it's wow, 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 and then breath out. So it should have just been... 3 is. See if you can do that. All right, number 4 is cool. Too much. All right. So those are just some exercises. You can find me during lunch if you want to know what the rest of them are. They're random things to do to get you working the 4 draw in various ways. What do we have here? We have root, blue third, fourth, flat fifth. Let's do that. So check this out. We're going to go root, blue third, fourth, flat fifth, and back down. That's going to sound like this. And then there's 1 beat left. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, rest. All right? Can we do that? Is that something we can do? We can move up the scale to the flat fifth and come back down. Here's the challenge. Not only to do that, but to never release the 4 draw so that it becomes an unbent 4 draw. To go into it from the 4 blow, go into a bent 4 draw, and go back down. Here, this is what I don't want. Because there I went. That's the 5th. That's the 4 draw with no bend. I want you to go. I want you to keep a lid on that 4-hole draw so that it's always bent.
Where's he starting?
Does that make sense? Then what I'm asking you to do? And the reason I ask you to do this is because it's tough for most of you. Most of you aren't used to doing that. But so let's see if we can do that, and I'll show you why you want to do that. All right? So let's go 1, 2, 3, go. 3. Can I get a volunteer? Anybody want to play it for my discerning and annoyingly precise ears? Good. So here's what I hear. You got exactly right on the 4. You never let it up. So that's exactly, and you hit the blues pitch on the way down. On the way up, you bent it a little bit too far.
Okay.
And that's what I'm hearing. So, and you guys might not have heard that. I heard that you got the 4 right, but I heard that on the way up, you did this. It was a little too far. And it went perfect on the way down. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. That's sort of where I'm listening, which is to say, that's a solid A to A minus right there. You pretty much did it. Okay, so that's really good. I don't think anybody in this room could do better, but maybe there's somebody who could do better. I think you're about the top of the class.
Who would want it?
Who would want to
volunteer?
No one I'm going to listen like that. Come on, somebody.
I'll try it.
I'll help you out. Okay.
Yeah.
So you went way too far. You hit the 3-hole way too low the first time going up. You didn't bend the 4 down. And then you missed a note on the way down.
Yeah, I know.
Do it, but do it again. Do it again. I want everybody. Was much better actually.
Slower.
But you got every note. You nailed every note. So you didn't miss a note. Now let me say, hold the harp with both hands. You got one hand in front. I think you need to, playing this stuff is also partly about a level of intensity too, so I want to yank that out a little bit. Do it one more time. Until that blue third on the way down, which went a little too low,
Yeah, it did.
because when you put intensity in, you're going to naturally pull it down too far. That was much better. That was much better. Okay. Hopefully I'm not intimidating everybody. What I'm trying to do is put in you a sense that there's actually real stuff going on, that's subtle stuff, that also takes strength and focus, and that in order to just be able to get up at an open mic and feel something and play it, you got to put in all this discipline. I can't stress the importance of that enough. You know, so I don't want to get in the way of whatever feeling you brought in here and whatever sadness and jumping joy kind of stuff that you connect with the harmonica. All of that needs to stay there, and I don't want to mess with that at all. What I want to tell you is if you want to eventually be able to get up at a mic and make other people feel that same thing, then you have to put in time in the woodshed, we might say, put in time actually playing this kind of stuff. Now when I pick up a harp, a different key, when I pick up a C harp for the first time that day, I do just this kind of stuff. And the 3 is the hardest one. So if you had a little trouble, and if I was hard on you guys and sort of said, not quite, yes, there, it's because I'm hard on myself. But in order to really get it right, at the opposite extreme would be somebody, again, who doesn't know what that blue third is, and who thinks I'm going to bend, and therefore I got to pull really hard when you bend, and therefore when I play that 3, I'm going to go, and you know, that just, I want to just shoot myself when I hear that kind of playing, but that's not blues playing. It may be rock playing, I don't know, but it's not blues playing. And when you hear Big Walter Horton, I'll encourage you to go and get Big Walter with Carrie Bill. And he does a version of a song called Have a Good Time. And the solo. And he's doing his blue third a little deeper when he gets to that 4 chord than he is on the 3. In other words, there are different, my point is they're subtle things, and all those players knew them. And I'm just trying to come along behind them and verbalize what these players were just doing because they knew that that's where the magic was. Let's keep going up. Any questions before we finish this thing off on the blues scale? Okay. Well, we have 3 more notes, and we already played these notes in our little thing up front. I went, and you guys went, ba, ba, ba. I went down from the octave to the flat 7th to the 5th. Let me say something then about the 5th, the flat 7th, and the octave to sort of finish off this blues scale thing. What is this blues scale? So the 5th is a very important note. It's in your chord. It's in the 1 chord. This 4 draw, you all know, it's when you learned how to wail on the harp. It was one of the first things that you probably learned how to do, right? That sounded really bluesy, this sort of wail on that 4 draw. And obviously there's a lot, there are ways of inflecting those notes that again come from something that I talked about at the beginning, which is blues singing. That's sort of what I call the vocalizations. You listen to guys like Ronnie Shellis, they'll roll off the 2. And it almost sounds like, ow, right? Get off my foot. Same thing on the 4. you can be, if you do it right. Now, Sonny Terry knew this. There's a category of blues songs that are called talking harmonica songs, where you sort of make the harmonica talk like a baby, right? Have you ever heard or come across these talking harmonica? That I want my mama, right? And
You can do that with clarinet too.
Can you?
Like klezmer music.
I didn't know that, but I know that harmonica players will say, so what do you say, boy? Talk to me. You want your what? You want your mama? Right? Right? So what am I doing? Well, I'm using my hands. I want my mama. So here's a note, not only the 4 draw, but the 5 draw. Very important note. It's a note that blues singers use a lot. Well, oh, well, when I do That's All Right Mama on a B flat harp, Elvis Presley, Arthur Big Boy Crudup. Well, that's all right now, mama. What am I doing there, by the way? That's the blues scale. Well, that's all right now, mama. Well, that's all right now, mama. That's all right for you. And that's the flat 7. You. That's all right now, mama. Any way you do. Octave, flat 7th, 4th, blue 3rd, root. It's really sick that I would translate rock and hillbilly kind of music.
I love it. It's great.
But it's there. It's there. It's out there. That's all right for you. So, why would we do that on the? Everybody go up to the 5 draw and kind of wail on it. Right. Now watch this. James Cotton. What I learned from James Cotton and what I learned from Little Walter was that the 5 draw actually can be bent. Now, right? It can be bent because there's a quarter tone between 5 draw and 5 blow. Play 5 draw and 5 blow. So on the piano, those are 2 adjacent keys. There's nothing between them. On the guitar, those are 2 adjacent frets. But the thing about harmonica, again, like blues vocals, you can hit it bent and let it up. Let me show you what I mean.
You know how a little sharp.
You can hit it flat and let it up, and it becomes a kind of whoop, a kind of yelping sound. So James Cotton will do. Right? It's a very effective. It's a vocalization. Show you how this note shows up and I'll keep the C harp just for the purposes in backtrack. Junior Will, Little Walter. In Little Walter Juke. Right, and that's the second chorus of Juke, I think. So just because a note is here, if we're talking about a blues scale, I want you to get a little more complex in your understanding of what a scale is. There are some inert things on the page, and then there's the way we actually bring them to life when we're playing blues harmonica. So that 5 draw, which looks like it's just a note, it's the flat 7th. But what I'm saying is it's also a note you can vocalize, you can bend, you can roll off it as I did. right, so that's a way of doing, and again, it comes, I think, from what blues singers do. And then we get the octave. What's an octave, by the way, for somebody know what the octave is relative to the root?
Do, re, mi.
What's the root?
So well, it's so.
It's the same note up an octave.
That's the same note up an octave, right?
Up 8,
Yeah, okay.
8.
7 tones between it, or 7?
Yeah.
Same note, different pitch.
What is it in, so a note is just a pitch, which is cycles per second, so A440. What's the octave above A440? Right, so it's 880. So it simply vibrates twice as fast. That's what it is in actual mechanical terms. It vibrates twice as fast. And what that means is that the root and the octave, when you play them together, they sound really good together. They sound really good. And the reason for that has to do with what's called an overtone series. It's a very kind of complex thing, but basically every note, and harmonica has a bunch of different overtones, a bunch of different notes that resonate above, let's say, the A440. And the 880 is one of them. That's pretty prominent. So when you play notes together that share overtones, I'm getting into music theory, aren't I? What happened? We were doing so well. Music school. That means it's time to end. Let me. One last thing. Well, we're not going to get to the country scale really, although of course. That's the country scale, which is actually somewhat easier. If you can do the Mary Had a Little Lamb note, that's that note. That's the major second. So it's really actually quite a bit easier, the country scale. I would encourage you. You know the beginning to the song Southbound by the Allman Brothers? Lord, I was born a rambling man. And of course, Lord, I was born, flat seventh. Born a rambling man. Can't sing the song. The reason that song is haunting is because it uses that straight up country scale in the opening and in a lot of what it's about, and yet it has an admixture of the blues that kind of filters in on the melody. Right? So if you go back and listen to Rambling Man, I think it's actually in the key of G. I think. The country scale. Let me show you one more thing, which is simply these two notes down here. You don't have to worry as much about up here for now. But in the blues scale is the 1 draw and the 2 draw whole step bend. Let's all try to do the 2 draw, the whole step bend. Good. All right. Here's what I want to do. Our final exercise, and I'll let you guys go with, if there's a question I'll answer, which is 2 draw, whole step bend, 1 draw. Call and response. So I'm going to go. All right, check it out. Good. Good. Watch out. Good. We're done. We're done. You guys are fantastic. Do I have? Is there a question or two? I'm sure I've left something uncovered. Anything that I've just thrown up there that you're curious about?
The Carrie Bell tune that you played.
Big Walter, yeah, with Carrie Bell.
So was one of them shuffling underneath while you know? It was a duet, so one
It's a
of them was
duet, yeah.
Yeah,
And of course, I was focused on whoever was doing the lead thing.
Yeah,
But
but-
yeah, I'm sure Carrie Bell. I can't remember if he was playing a diatonic or a chromatic. That's an album I would encourage you all to get. It's a fantastic album. It's on Alligator Records, and it has a sort of black cover with the two men, kind of their faces. It was a very important album in my own development because I've just never heard anything like that. It's Chicago
What's the name of
blues.
the album?
It's called Big Walter Horton with Carrie Bell. It was an Alligator album that came out in the late 70s, I believe. And it was a very big album for them. All right, guys. Well, hey,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.